Hi! You're looking at the floor in today's video because looking upwards makes my face look less fat, but also because what I'm going to show you in today's video generally sits on the floor. I woke up this morning at 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday because a stupid robocaller called me. And I was just scrolling through Facebook when a marketplace listing came up for a vintage vacuum cleaner. And it was right here, right in town. And they wanted $100 for this vintage vacuum cleaner, which I wasn't gonna pay. And I messaged them. This was at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even think they'd be awake. I messaged them and I said, "Hey, I'm looking at your vacuum cleaner. Would you take 50 for it?" And she immediately replied and said, "Yes, sold. Here's our address. Come and get it." And 20 minutes later, I was the owner of what I'm about to show you. And by the way, not to be one of those YouTubers, but you really should watch this video all the way to the end. Because when you think I've shown you everything, I probably haven't. Keep that in mind. There it is. This is an Electrolux model Super J, and it was made in the mid or late 1970s. It's in really good shape, and it works just fine. And I got this thing for $50. It does have one imperfection. The bag light is busted out. I don't know if the light itself is still somewhere inside that cavity, but at the very least the lens is missing. But the thing works just fine. They turned it on for me at the place so I could see it running before I took it home. But also, when I got this thing home, I used it to clean up its own mess that it made when I brought it home. So, yeah, this is really sweet. I've always kind of wanted a vintage vacuum cleaner to play around with. I only have two vacuum cleaners. They're both semi-modern shop vacs. One's about 20 years old and the other's about 10 years old. But this is really cool. I'm really happy to have this. I didn't get the power head with it. It may not have been sold with the power head, but I got it with the normal cleaning wand. And this wand is compatible with the power head, so if I ever get a power head, I can put it on and use it. Not that I need a power head because I don't have any carpet in here, but it'd be cool to have nonetheless. And yeah, it's really sweet. It's a very 70s looking machine. Lots of chrome on it. The chrome is in good shape. The plastics and everything is in pretty good shape. The cloth of the hose is in, decent shape for the age. And so far as I've tested it, the hose doesn't leak, which can be an issue on these old vacuum cleaners with rubber and cloth hoses. So yeah, I'm really happy. Really excited to clean this thing up, get it as clean as I can get it, and when I'm done that, we'll make the whole video of this thing. Now you might think, geez, $50 is a little steep for just, a vintage vacuum cleaner like this with a busted out bag light and, even if it works just fine, a thrift store might sell this for like 20 bucks. But here's the thing, I didn't get just this vacuum cleaner. I got this homemade wooden box that the original owner of the vacuum built by hand to store it in, however many decades ago. That is amazing. It was built to perfectly fit the vacuum, and it was just a place to store the vacuum, have it out of the way, And this actually, it looks pretty nice. It's a piece of furniture. A piece of hand-built furniture. And I couldn't believe it when I came and got the vacuum. They were like, oh yeah, it also comes in this storage box that he built. And I'm like, what? But yeah. And there's some goodies inside here too. Take a look at this. Look at this. Hand-built wooden storage box for this guy's vacuum cleaner. And it has like this is like the wood paneling that would normally go on the wall in a home, like back in the 70s and 80s. It's really cool. And it's really well built. But there's some goodies inside here too. We have another hose, which I don't know if it's original to this vacuum or if it went to some other vacuum. And then there's some modern plastic tools. Bags. It came with at least, I don't know how many bags. There's 3 bags in this package, and the package isn't open. So here's 3 bags. And then this package isn't open, and it doesn't say how many bags, but it says, oh, 2 bags. And, you know, neither of these are original Electrolux parts, but they're for the Electrolux canister vacs. No, these are awesome. So I've got 5 bags, and actually the people who sold me the vacuum told me that they put a new bag in it right before I got there. So that presumably came out of this. This is empty. So yeah, I've got 1 new bag already in the machine, and then 5 new ones still sealed in the package. A modern plastic crevice tool. And this appears to be wallpaper, just a thing of wallpaper. I don't know why. I'll probably just toss this. And this is a tablecloth, I guess. Maybe they just stored other stuff in here. A piece of flooring exactly like this floor. So there you go. Wow. And then there's, I'm guessing this is also wall. Oh my god, there's documentation in here! I didn't know that. I didn't get to the bottom of this. Holy crap! It's all the original documentation! I am not going to show you this. We're going to wait till the full video. This has, I think, all the original documentation, including the manual in it. Holy cow! I didn't know that. Oh man, this is the first time I've seen this. I didn't know it had any documentation with it. Wow. I'm really stoked now. That's awesome. Wow, that is just bonanza. That is sweet. So now you may agree that this was worth $50. 45-year-old vacuum cleaner, a hand-built storage box, a bunch of modern tools, 5 extra bags, and all the original documentation from what it looks. So there you go, an Electrolux Super J canister vacuum, mid to late 70s, 99% perfect, working order. It's got the retractable cord is in perfect shape. And yeah, I am super excited to get this thing cleaned up as best I can and make a video of this thing where we can demonstrate it and look at the documentation and everything. So I'm really excited, and I hope at least some of you are too. So there you go. But we are not done yet. After they helped me load the vacuum and this box into the trunk of my car, they said, it was a man and a woman, they said, oh, by the way, we've also got this if you want it. And they showed it to me, and I said, heck yeah. Let me show you what it is. This is an Electrolux model ZB55, and it was made in the early 1950s. Look at this thing. It's amazing. It's super filthy. This is going to need a ton of work. It's really rusty. It's really dirty. The cloth on the hose is pretty tattered, and I won't be surprised if the hose leaks like a sieve. But they offered me this, and I said, heck yeah. I am so excited to have this one too. I have not tested this yet. I am too nervous to plug it in and test it. The guy actually offered to just plug it in right there. He was like, oh yeah, I'll plug it in and show you it works. I'm like, no thanks. I don't know if it's been plugged in recently. He pulled this out of the floor of a garage, which is why it's so filthy. So I'm going to, when I test it for the first time, it's going to be on a dim bulb tester. I do have a dim bulb tester that I made myself. And I'm going to use that to test this thing for the first time, because we have no idea what shape the motor's in. It could have a shorted winding. You know, the motor could be just frozen. There's no knowing what the condition of the motor is. So yeah, this is going to get its first test on a dim bulb tester. And a surprise for my Patreon supporters, I'm going to make that my second Patreon exclusive video. I will plug this thing into a dim bulb tester and turn it on for the first time in my possession for my Patreon supporters. So I hope they look forward to that video. So yeah, once I get the Super J all cleaned up and as nice as I can make it, then I'll get to work on this thing. Now personally, I don't find this unit cooler than the Super J. It's cooler in the sense that it's older, but I find the Super J much more interesting. I find it nicer cosmetically and all that stuff. But this vacuum is very nostalgic for me for a very important reason. We had one of these in the family. My parents had one of these when I was a kid. Didn't use it, you know, by the time I came around, you know, my mom already had a Hoover Celebrity 3, which is a vacuum from the 70s. And so we had one of these, this exact model, and it had already been retired by the time I was born. But it still worked. If I had to guess, it's too bad. If anybody would have known the history of it, it would have been my dad, and he's gone now. But if I had to guess, it was probably originally owned by my great-grandparents, because I believe my great-grandparents were the original people who built my dad's house. Or it might have been my great-great-grandparents, I'm not sure, but either my great or great-great-grandparents bought one of these back in the late 40s or early 50s. And it still worked when I came around. It worked just fine. And as a matter of fact, it still worked when Dad's house was knocked down in 2012. That vacuum still worked fine. And I regret that I wasn't able to save it. It went down with the house. But at the time, I just, you know, I didn't see the significance in it like I would now. But also, Mom would have never let me take it and bring it home anyway. It was dirty, and the last thing it ever sucked was cat poop, so it had cat poop in the bag, because that was, you know, the last time I ever used it, which was in like 2009. And so yeah, we had one of these. It's a part of my very early memories, and so it's really cool that I now have another one. The one we had was far, far nicer, but this is going to be a really cool project nonetheless. As a matter of fact, I have a video clip to show you. I made a video back at that time, in 2009, right after my dad had to move out of his house and into an apartment complex for seniors and people with mobility issues. Right after he moved out of his house, I made a video showing the state of the house post-move out. And I believe I showed that vacuum that we had in that video. So let me pull up that clip right now from the archives from 2009 and throw it in here. This is I think it's Electrolux, yeah, an Electrolux vacuum from, I think, 1940... 1948. It's from 1948 and it works perfectly. I used it to vacuum the upstairs about 3 or 4 years ago. There you go. That's really cool. That's the first time I've seen that clip. Pretty much since I made that video. Because, you know, it's kind of hard to watch now. A lot of memories in that house and with my dad being gone and everything like that. But it's really cool to pull that up and see the vacuum we had, just like this one. So yeah, there you go. Electrolux model ZB55 from the early 1950s. So I'm really excited to get this guy cleaned up as best I can. Hopefully it works. And when I get it all cleaned up as good as I can, we'll make a video of this guy too. So there you go. 2 vintage Electrolux canister vacuums and a homemade wooden box for one of them, and all the documentation for one of them and everything else, attachments, bags. So this this has been a very, very cool morning. So I hope you guys are excited to see both of these vacuums. But here's the thing, this wasn't the last thing that I got from them. After they brought this guy out, they said, oh hey, there's something else in the garage too. Do you want this? And at that point I was just in disbelief and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. But let me show you the third thing here. This is an Electrolux model ZB55. This one's even older. This one's from the late 1940s. So yes, 2 ZB55s. One from the early 50s, one from the late 40s. This one's just as rough as the other one. It's also got lots of rust. It's filthy. This one has a weird attachment on the ass end. I think it's probably for so you can connect the hose to use it as a blower. The plug on the cord is, you know, just can't be used anymore. So I already bought a new plug to Canadian Tire that I can hopefully replace it with. And the hose on this one, it actually looks better until you get right there. She's had the electrical tape treatment. The fabric is just exploding off. And this one had a brush attachment attached to it. That's cool. So yeah, an even older ZB55. And they both have the alligator skin pattern on them, just like the one we had when I was a kid. I think that was the only pattern that was offered on these. So, and like the other one, I haven't plugged this in. I don't know what working condition it's in. This is also going to be tested on a dim bulb tester. I also haven't opened either of these up yet, so I don't know if they have the cloth bags with them. Hopefully they do. And if they do, hopefully they're not torn or anything. So yeah, these had reusable cloth bags before the days of disposable bags. Once I have the Super J and the first ZB55 cleaned up and hopefully working, it'll be on to this ZB55. By the way, if you're one of my American viewers and you're knowledgeable on these things and you've never heard of the Electrolux ZB55, that's because it was only sold in Canada. The ZB55 was made in Canada and it was sold only in Canada by Electrolux Canada. But for you guys, this is about equivalent to your Model 30. Cosmetically, it's actually a bit of a hybrid between your Model 30 and your Model 60. So there you go. Well, there's the trifecta. I have so much work to do. I'm actually a little overwhelmed looking at these three things and seeing how filthy the older two especially are. And then I think about all the other projects I've got on hand and oh my god, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But that's why I keep jumping from hobby to hobby to hobby, is because I start one hobby and then I get either overwhelmed or just want to move on to something else, and then I move on to something else. But right now, I'm pretty excited to have these, even knowing, the work that's going to be ahead of me to clean them up. I'm excited anyway. I'm not going to document cleaning these up on video. Cleaning something and, restoring something, or at least as much as I have the ability to restore something. It's something that I do sort of on my own. I'm sort of in my happy place when, I'm just chilling out watching YouTube videos while cleaning something or taking something apart to clean it or stuff like that, So I'm probably not going to document working on these in a video, but once I get them as good as can be, then I will make the video about them. The Super J will get its own video, and then the two ZB55s will be together in a video. So that's the plan. And then, on top of that, I gotta find a place to put this box. Because that's just way too nice not to find a place for it. I think it's really cool looking. And it's just so cool that a guy who really loved his Electrolux vacuum cleaner built a box just for it. So I'm going to use the box for its original intended purpose. And so I got to find a place to put it. Not sure where that'll be yet, but I'll see what I can do. So yeah, now that's everything. No more surprises. I've shown you everything there is to see in this video today. So I really hope you've enjoyed. A huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. Their support helps me afford crazy endeavors like this. Oh, by the way, I should mention, so I don't seem like a jerk, I did pay an extra $30 for the two ZB55. So $80 in total for 3 vintage vacuum cleaners, plus the box. I think I got a pretty darn fair deal on that. I'm very happy. And for my Patreon supporters, my second Patreon exclusive video will be testing the ZB55s on a dim bulb tester and then plugging them into full power if I deem them fit to do so, and we'll see how they work. So I hope those guys look forward to that. But to everyone else, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate your viewership. It too helps the channel, keeps me motivated to work on cool old things like this to show you. And until next time, I'll see you later.